gone past the intro bit.
I am the flash.
Welcome to the Rugby Pod podcast live here at the Walkabout in Temple. I'm your host, Andy Rowe, and as usual, I'm joined by Jim, the melted wheelie bin Hamilton, and Andy, the belly monster Good, and Simon Shaw, Wasps legend, Toulon legend, British and Irish Lions. Thank you very much for coming along.
You're absolutely welcome. It's great to be here. It's nice that you had to look down at your sheet. Who's this guy?
I'm wondering where the nickname is. So we've got the wheelie bin, melted wheelie bin, the belly monster. So you've lost weight.
So I've lost weight, but basically I've been having blood tests the past few weeks, and only last week I found out that I've got a disease. Shit the bed, I'm telling you now, serious as well. So I've had a number of kind of symptoms. So the biggest one being, so a little bit serious, then we can laugh about it after. So in the lead up to the Wasps game, where I was so shit, and this is an excuse that I make. Hang on, let me talk. Okay. So I was.
What was the score?
It was close.
No, it wasn't.
When I came off, it was close. So I was a little bit ill in that game, but had to come off in the game. Managed to fight through to the Champions Cup final, where I played a blinder of 2 minutes. So then my kind of life changed. So I went out on the piss after, and I felt awful the next day. I couldn't lift my head up at all to get up. My missus thought I had alcohol poisoning, was pretty pissed off. So I thought it was as well. I went along with that. And so gradually I've been getting worse and worse. I've been for a few blood tests, and then only last week it came back that I've got a disease called Graves' disease. Can you believe it or not? So the stuff that is, so weight loss, excess sweating, which I have been, and like the tremors as well. So there's my hand shaking, and so my voice sounds like it's hoarse as well. So they were worried that I had a tumour on my throat, but it turns out now this is quite funny because I think my nan's got the same. It's an overactive thyroid.
Wow.
Yeah. So any other man
have you noticed there's no sympathy at all from the audience here?
You could do with an overactive thyroid.
Well, yeah, I could. See, this is the thing. What happens when you retire? Most people lose their hair and put on weight. Obviously, I managed to put on weight, but I've grown my hair back. Jim, on the other hand, he's got ill. He's going, but I've got a really good hair surgeon that you can, a bit of from the back to the front.
I'm on medication now, so it's fine.
Hey, so Simon, you've been on a Lions tour. So, I mean, would you like to tell these boys what it's like?
You've read your notes again. He's read his notes. I've been on 3 tours, lucky enough. Blessed, in fact. They're fantastic things to be a part of. Amazing, in fact. But what was the reason you didn't go on any tours?
I was shit.
You were shit, okay.
I was on standby in 2005, the one you didn't go on. No, you did go on that. Yeah, you did, yeah. How was that tour? It was that bad I was on standby, but how was that tour for you?
It was awful. It was fucking awful. Apart from, I did have one particularly good run against, I can't even remember the name of the team. They were so crap. But I made this run from the kick-off, almost scored, literally got stopped 2 yards short, and then Neil back, picked the ball up and scored. I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember that? No. Very famous footage. No. I'm surprised it wasn't on the top 10 tries of all time for the Lions. But after that, obviously all the guys give you a pat on the back and congratulate you on a fantastic performance, as they do whatever you do really on the pitch, because you want to keep morale up. And everyone was slapping on the back. Oh, that could have been the best try ever in a Lions shirt. It was amazing that run, incredible. And you kind of think, oh, that's fantastic. And then you start getting the text from home, and the text came in. It's like, you look like a fucking demented giraffe.
We're going to move to a game that most of you, if you've listened to the podcast, will probably be familiar with. It's called Tweet Roulette. What we're going to do today is we're going to play a game called 10 Questions. I've got a player in my mind. Gertie and Jim, I'm going to let you sit this one out. You don't want to play this. I've got a player in my mind. You guys get 10 yes and no questions. If I say yes, you get another question. Whoever gets it right gets to take the other person's phone and tweet whatever they like. Can we just talk about your Twitter this week, Gertie?
You've turned into a politician now, haven't you?
Yeah.
Why? How?
It's an opinion. James.
So we were just talking about this, sat here right now, And then Goody was like, yeah, I've been messaging. What's his name? Farage. And he said that he would read them out. You said you'd read a couple of the messages out. So you've been direct messaging.
No, we had a chat about Diane Abbott, and you went, "Who the fuck's that?" So that's
exactly.
And my mum taught you that's not good, is it, for education?
No, she wasn't good. No. Sorry, Miss Lewis.
You have to apologise to my mum every week, don't you?
Sorry.
It was bad.
So can you? So is that true? You've been messaging Farage?
Yeah, he's a follower of the pod. It's like all these people just following the pod.
Can I read a couple of the messages?
No, you can't.
Please.
Let's carry on. Let's move along.
Please.
Move
if
along.
I win, can I read one?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. A couple. Right.
We're not reading any?
No, that's what he wants to do to win the prize.
Okay, all right. So you guys get to ask a question. So paper, scissors, rock. Best of one to get who asks the first question.
I always go scissors, by the way.
Ooh.
Tried to do him.
All right, Jim.
Okay. Can I ask a question? Can I ask the question, or do I have to get the question right? So if I ask, for
How
example,
simple are you?
So yeah. So, sorry. Explain.
I don't understand your question.
You ask a question, James, and he answers yes or no.
Okay.
And if you get it right, you ask another question.
Is this player a man?
Yes.
Is this player retired?
Yes.
It's you.
Well, it can't be me, can it? I'm here. Is this ex-player from the Northern Hemisphere?
No.
It's obviously going to be a Kiwi. He's a fucking Kiwi, isn't he? Is he a forward?
No.
Oh.
Is he a back?
Yes.
Come on, Jim. It's not hard.
Okay, going with the theme of things, did he play for New Zealand?
Yes.
Okay, now, a good game's a quick game. Come on.
Is he of island descent?
Yes.
This is bullshit. He stitched me up here.
I'll tell you, he hasn't, mate. On my Graves' disease, he hasn't, mate. I'm going to go Tana Umunga. Anyone agree? Hey, easy.
That you saw written on his bit of paper.
It's Tana Umunga.
Yeah, well done.
So,
Fuck me, it's going to be a long 10 days with you boys in New Zealand, isn't it?
What's your pin code?
I'm not telling you that.
this is far up that little bit of political dynamite you've got there.
You have to excuse my reading. A lot of my work was done in maths with Miss Good.
What are you after here?
Extra curriculum. Yeah, she did. She did. She was very good at maths.
She did say she got you out of bed once.
Which is true.
Because he was too lazy to get out of bed to go to an exam. True or not?
Well, it was true that she came to my house and
Oh,
got me out
wow,
of
Jim,
bed.
stop it!
Okay, so what's his first name? Nigel? Is this working? No, yeah, it is. Is it Nigel or Malcolm? Farage. This is brilliant. It's true. I'm going to read the first one. Oh, my word. Hi, Nigel. Thank you for the follow. I'm a big, big fan.
This is bullshit.
I swear on my Graves' disease. Can I mention that? So listen, my partner runs a private members club in Mayfair and we wondered if you'd be interested in doing a talk on leaving the EU. There would be a lot of high... Yeah, okay, so that's fine. So here's his reply. Hi, Andy. Thanks for your message. Please can I put you in touch with... Oh, Jesus. With our Deputy Treasurer, George Cottrell, who arranges these types of things. I have a very busy schedule at the moment, but we'll try and find the time. P.S. I'm hung like a squirrel. So I'm seeing you've got 3 messages you sent him. He's not replied to any of them. Please text back. Thank you. And then Goodies wrote, a great day for our country that you had a huge impact on orchestra. Oh, my word. Congratulations and thank you very much. Thanks, Andy. Sorry for the late reply. Nigel. So you think that'd be the end? Oh, no. No worries, Nigel. Keep up the good work.
You're making this shit up, are you?
Mate, I swear I've got it here. I might even screenshot it. So I'm going to tweet. So I get to tweet now.
Oh, that was the punishment there.
Was that the punishment?
That...
The fans have spoken.
All right, let's go on to the Lions. The start of the Lions, not the best start unless you're Bryn Gatland's father. What do you guys make of that? Simon, first of all, was that just rust? Was it a fair cop just giving it out as a bit of jet lag after 3 days in New Zealand?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I played in a game literally post 1997 Lions tour, finished the last game of the Lions tour, flew straight to Australia and played a game 2 days later, and the entire coach was asleep going to the game. You can't underestimate the impact of what the jet lag has on you. I think it's pure rust. I played a game, the opening game in South Africa as well, where it was at altitude. So apparently the best way to deal with altitude is either to play immediately you get off the plane, or wait at least 8 days until after you've landed. And we played 4 days in, so I was absolutely hacked. And had the worst game of my life and felt like death. I think we pretty much put it entirely down to jet lag and rustiness.
I actually don't think it's a bad thing. Obviously, if you win the first game by 60 points against the New Zealand Barbarians, then everyone's piping up saying we're going to win the Test series. But ultimately, what it's done has refocused everyone. And mainly what it's done is realise that the Scottish boys are shit.
What? I'm English. No, I'm not Scottish.
Heard it live. Jim's English. Stuart Hogg. Everyone talked about him during the Six Nations as the form fullback. He was garbage.
Greg Laidlaw was good.
Greg Laidlaw just proved. I reckon I could have played scrum half better than him.
Mate.
There was thank you very much. There was the biggest hole. He picks up the ball from the ruck. There was the biggest hole that even I could have waddled through.
No, you couldn't.
And he's passed it on. We've had this debate about Greg Laidlaw.
How can you debate about him passing the ball on when you stood 30 metres deep and just passed or kicked? And you were on standby?
Know your limitations, mate.
I
think. Did you generally think he played well?
I genuinely did, yeah.
Oh, that shows how much you fucking know about rugby, let me tell you.
I wouldn't say he played well. I would say he didn't play badly.
Look at him defend.
That's a Scottish thing.
That's a Scottish thing.
How did you play? Well, I played. Yeah, I didn't play bad. Wow.
And you celebrate that. There we go. Listen, you look at some players. Is it too early to talk about players that have played themselves out of the Test team? I actually think you look at the squad selection now for tomorrow's game, but more importantly, the Crusaders game next week. And in reality, you cannot, and Shawsey will know this better than anyone, in this day and age, you cannot go Wednesday, Saturday with the physicality as brutal as it is. So you look at the guys, and Gatland said it himself, talking about, as he stitched me. He stitched me, didn't he?
Was that a private message?
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Anyway, going back to the Lions, we'll do it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
What's really interesting for me, look at the selection for tomorrow, but then Gatland said everyone will start one of the first 3 games. So you look at the guys that haven't started a game yet, and you look at the guys that will therefore start against the Crusaders, which ultimately the Crusaders are unbeaten in 14 games, is it?
Yeah, 14 games on the trot.
It's Super Touch, so it's a bit different, but you look at the back line of the players that haven't started a game yet. You've got Conor Murray at 9, Owen Farrell at 10, Jonathan Davis in the centres, George North and Liam Williams. For me, they're 5 definite starters in the Test team. So he's already trying to generate a Test back line by playing against the Crusaders next week. And, Laidlaw was garbage. Stuart Hogg played himself potentially out of the test. And the big talking point was Johnny Sexton's form, because a lot of people were talking about that Sexton-Farrell battle. Do you move Farrell to 12? I thought Ben Teo played really well. I thought Sexton had an average game. And then you start looking at Gatlin, what he said after the game. He thought Teo stood up really well, and off the back of that, there's a chance that Teo might start in the tests.
Has Sexton done his test chances any good with that performance?
I wouldn't say he's done them any good, because he didn't have a good game, did he? I think ultimately what it's going to come down to, and Gatlin said this before the tour when he's named the squad, he's talked about they're both selected as 10, so he'll pick the best 10 and look for a centre, which I think he wants to pick Teo for his size, his physicality. So I think Farrell's in the box seat now. And generally I think Farrell's a better 10. His goal kicking's phenomenal, his management of a game, and Jim knows it better than anyone from watching from the sides when Farrell's playing for Saracens. How good a player he is. I watched him too.
We've not talked about this, Goody, so you keep giving me shit, but this was presented to me, Player of the Season from Saracens 2016-17. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So you meant played alongside. You meant.
So hold on. So you've bought this trophy that you said was presented to you as Saracens Player of the Season. No other names. That's like you've gone down to the Mickey Mouse shop and bought something and gone yourself and said, I was Player of the Season.
No.
Shawsey, that doesn't even look real,
real
does
deal.
it?
Shawsey, look at that. Shawsey, what are you laughing at? What are you laughing at, Shawsey? Mate, it does. It's interesting you're holding that, Shawsey, because you know the coach, Mark McCall, likened me to a modern, better Simon Shaw. That's what he said. He told me that he said, you know what? He said, what? She likes it. She agrees. You agree? You agree, I think. But yeah, that's that there. So I did play with Farrell a lot.
Once, for 2 minutes.
But he is a very good player. Can I say that? Seriously? Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, very good player. I think he'll be the starting 10 now.
Not Saracens Player of the Year, but he's a good player nonetheless.
He's up there. He's up there with me. Yeah, with us, us greats of the Saracens team.
Simon, can I just ask you a question? We've talked a lot about, we've heard a lot of talk from Warren Gatlin rather about how he wants to involve everyone. He doesn't want to lose the team like Graham Henry did early on by making the squad see that there's a starting squad and all the rest make it up. Was that the case for you in your tours with the Lions? And can he stop that? Because sooner or later he's going to have to start training in his combinations, isn't he?
Yeah, interesting enough, the tours that went well, 97 and 2009, that wasn't apparent from the start. Obviously, you knew that there was some shoe-ins, but generally, everyone was playing for the places. In 2005, it's pretty bloody obvious, having a test match against Argentina and selecting a side that most journalists would probably choose as a starting test match side. It was evident from the start who Clive Wood would want in his side, and that created a very different atmosphere on tour, which was shit.
You go back to that tour. You talk about that tour though, and there's the whole divide. Somewhere in the one squad in the North Island at times, one squad in the South Island. And I saw an interview from Clive Wood. He is fucking deluded, isn't he? He's still going on saying he got 2005 right in terms of preparation, and from a player that was there, you're just shaking your head. Tell us about that.
Well, no, what you have to do, obviously, on Lions tours is to integrate all the nations and make them feel like they're much a part of it as everyone is. And in that tour, he didn't. Everything was English-led. It was an English system. It was an English, it was Clive at the helm, looking at the kind of minutiae of everything. That means the little fractions.
Goody knows that. Goody knows what the little fractions are. I'll tell you that.
No, I just don't think he got the need for team building and team morale and all that sort of stuff. And we used to joke, and you were there for a number of years at England, that it was compulsory fun at England sessions. You got taken to a pub, told to have a beer, but then as soon as you ordered a lager, the eyes were on you, and you think, we're not really here to have fun. It's just it's pretense, and I think on that tour it was ill thought out, because I didn't know half the squad, going into week 3, because we'd not seen each other, and actually the midweek massive, as we called ourselves at the time, we went unbeaten, had a whale of a time, but the test, the Saturday side had a bloody awful time.
Right, we're going to go to some questions from the audience. Is Alex McMillan here? No? Yeah, there he is. There he is, okay, all right. Other than Spongefish Hamilton and Belly Monster Good, who are the best players who never made a Lions tour? We're probably going to start with you, Simon, to answer that one.
Oh, shit. My knowledge of rugby is minuscule. I don't remember people's names. I've got 4 kids. I don't remember their names. There's obviously a lot of players who've got. I mean, there's a couple of players who've got over 100 caps for their countries and never made a Lions tour. So Stringer, Patterson for Scotland never made a Lions tour. It's
mate, 100 Scotland caps.
Well, no, it equates to about 15 England caps,
or 3 Italy. It's the same sort of thing.
But no, honestly, don't know. Do you have a thought on that?
You mentioned Mike Tyndall. What do you reckon?
Oh, Tins. Well,
In terms of profile, he'd be. I mean, he was a good player in his prime.
Yeah, but he's not had a good history in New Zealand, so probably wouldn't be the guy you picked at the moment.
Were you there that night? Were you there that night when they were dwarf tossing? Or?
No, do you know what? It's funny because. But
No,
I mean, we all got slagged off, but this is a country that openly promotes dwarf throwing. I mean, it wasn't. We didn't start it.
Well, that was my next question. How far could you throw a dwarf?
A long fucking way, I think.
How far could you throw Andy Good?
Not very far.
Were either you, or were either of you, any of you, involved in the kidnapping of Leicester Tiger cadet players, and what did you do with them?
I was the driver. Yeah. I was the driver, but not the instigator. So someone's got some inside knowledge there. Did you hear about that or not?
I was there, mate.
Oh, you were?
I shit myself when Tom Young. So the story goes, we broke into. We've talked about this on the pod, but we thought the academy kids were getting above their station, so we hired a white van. Got a load of balaclavas, went to the academy house.
It was planned. There was a big planning
session. It was all planned,
before.
yeah. Went to the academy house, and we had one guy on the inside who let us in through the front door, didn't they? Yeah. We've all gone in, balaclavaed up, camoed up, all this stuff, to frighten the fucking living daylights out of these academy players. Basically trying to get them to wind their necks in. Tom Youngs was living in the house at the time. All the academy players shit themselves, dived on the floor, were hiding, saying, "Oh, take what you want, take what you want."
And Dan Cole was there as well. He was like shivering on the floor.
Coley was a little weasel. Tom Youngs started swinging. I shit myself, took my balaclava off. It's me, leave me alone.
At this point, so as this is happening in the house, I'm the driver in the vehicle out the front, and the neighbours are ringing the police. Within 3 minutes, the SWAT police have turned up in this small street in Leicester. I'm getting out, hands up in the air. I'm like, it's just a joke, it's just a joke. Get the fuck down, motherfucker! And anyway, it all got sorted out, but it got leaked to the paper as well. So, yeah, that was... so basically, don't fuck with Tom Youngs. That was the moral of the story.
What about... Okay, let's go to the rumour mill. A little bit more comfortable for you guys. Have you got any rumours, anything going around the traps that you want to let us in on?
I saw something. We could just throw a cat amongst the pigeons here. Moriarty to Northampton. Anyone else hear that? Yeah. Okay. So it's not a great rumour then, which would be interesting. I thought if anything he'd go back to Wales, but very good player.
It's funnily enough, obviously it's all based around Louis Picamole, and we talked about it probably about a month ago. And it's the whole thing, you see it in football a lot when the players are like, oh, you know, I love this club, I'm here to stay. The next day they're on the back pages with holding a different shirt up and signing for the biggest rivals. But yeah, I've done that a few times, Jim, yeah. There's no London Irish fans in here, are there? That's fine. Anyway, congrats to London Irish, they're back in the Premiership.
Yeah, so, hey,
they've made some signings. What happened?
If I would have known that they signed
Nalanga.
If I knew they would have signed him.
He hasn't scored a try in the top 14 for about 3 years, but he's a good player.
He's sat about 5 people down on the way and offloading out the back door. Yeah. So that could have been me he was offloading to. Okay.
Yeah, no, Jim. No. Yeah, so obviously, Jim Malander came out about a month ago and said, "Oh, yeah, Louis Picamole is really happy in Northampton. He loves living here. His family's really settled. Why would he want to go and live on the south coast of France when you've got Northampton?" Everyone in the know knew that he'd signed for Montpellier, so obviously the whole press angle, he was trying to sell season tickets for next year on the back of Louis Picamole still being there. So they've obviously got a massive load of cash now to sign number 8. I think it was something like £900,000 transfer fee for Louis Picamole that Montpellier paid Northampton. So yeah, they're gonna go after someone. They're talking about Nakarawa as well, the Fijian boy from Racing 92, who plays second row, back row. But Moriarty will be a great sign. I don't think Moriarty will leave Gloucester at all. And like Jim said, if he does, he'll go back to Wales. But another rumour that's come out, Lee Halfpenny leaving Toulon, going to Wasps.
Oh. Are you happy about that?
Fucking good team, Wasps.
Are you happy
Jim?
about that?
Great team, Wasps. Not quite good enough to win the Premiership yet, but what a final that was, though.
It was a good final. Yeah.
When would had Saracens got to the final and it had gone to extra time, when would you have got on in that game?
Well,
100 minutes, and it was 28 degrees, 27 degrees at Twickenham. Would you have got on?
judging by how soft George Cruz is at the minute, I reckon it could have been 60 minutes and I would have been absolutely fucked. I imagine looking at that. I actually thought Wasps, to be honest, I can say it now because I've retired, I thought some of the Wasps players were disgraceful with their body language. I thought the loosehead prop, the Irish boy, what's his name?
Tighter prop, Marty Moore.
Marty Moore, looking for a way out.
He was fucked.
Mate, yeah, he was.
No, as in, he was injured badly.
Mate, he wasn't injured badly. He's fine.
He was.
So anyway, so him, I thought Mile as well, who's meant to be a fit second row, looking for a way out.
He's a shit bloke anyway, but you carry on.
Oh, is he? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him?
Carry on.
So so I thought Marty Moore, for a guy that's meant to be one of their more high-profile players, which he is in terms of a front row, looking for a way out.
I understand that, and I'll go back to my time. I actually got
Haskell. How bad was he?
He
was shocking.
Mate, he didn't start the game very well, but he improved. He dropped a couple. He's got dildos for hands, hasn't he? We were talking about that before.
Not interested.
But
interested.
I know what I'll say about Wasps, and I'm glad we got Shawsey here because I helped Shawsey win. How many Premiership titles did you win? 4. So I helped Shawsey win 4 Premiership titles indirectly. I was man of the match for Wasps in many of the finals, but I was playing for Leicester, so it worked that one out. I was fucking terrible. But you go back to the Premiership final, and Wasps generally had the opportunity to go to uncontested scrums, which Shawsey knows quite a lot about, don't he? From the old Wasps days when Leicester played Wasps.
Beep, 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 beep,
yeah.
beep.
And you'd take Painter would be told to get off the field because it was true or not.
Like I said, I can't remember my names of my kids. You're asking me to memorise games. What do you mean? Tom French,
Yeah.
who hadn't played a Premiership game for Wasps,
Yeah.
absolutely screwed Julian White
Yeah.
in one of our finals.
But did you go to uncontested scrums?
No, we didn't. No,
Did
just
you?
screwed. No, I
You
can't.
did.
Well,
You
I
did.
can't.
You
remember
trust
that.
me, you did. But what I loved about it is Di Young after the game said they could have gone to uncontested scrums, but ultimately they didn't. It wasn't within the spirit of the game. They lost the game after losing a scrum penalty because Matt Mullen came back on. They shifted Simon McIntyre to tight head. I've bored everyone about scrums now, haven't I? It's fucking boring now. I know my rugby, Jim. I know my scrums because I'm built like a prop. So there we go.
I keep accidentally drinking Goody's drink and realising it tastes fucking sweet. He's got blackcurrant in his Guinness.
Blackcurrant? Oh, hang on.
Shocking.
More carb. Chop it. You're right. Amen. So one of the things of Graves' disease is you're not allowed 3, 4 things. I can't count, Miss Good. So you're not allowed beer, coffee, or nicotine. They're the 3 things you can't have. And look at me, I'm out drinking. So on tablets. Sorry, just quickly, I just wanted to make. We were talking about Montpellier. So whoever listens to the podcast, who listened to the first podcast, if not, I'll recap. So we told a story, true story, about one of our pre-season tours with Vern Cotter before the World Cup, where we walked to a mountain, massacred loads of rabbits. You remember it? So made the Yeah, so made the front. I'm not going to tell it again. Made the front page of all the Scotland national press. I was like a national hero. I don't know why. Off the back of that, but anyway, it catapulted the podcast to where it is now. So I went to Montpellier at the weekend with my wife. We went on Friday morning, and I said to her driving down. I said, "Imagine if we saw Vern when we were in Montpellier." She's like, "Oh yeah, like what would you?" I said, "I don't know. I fucking know. I ain't spoke to him, apart from where he said he was going to sue me." Holy shit. I'm at the airport on Friday, walk in to literally get on the plane, Vern stood there. So you've got to think, so I've got this disease at the minute, so two of the things are sweating and shaking. So Vern, and melting, yeah. So literally I'm there, Vern, yeah, hey mate, so a bit nervous anyway, he's a scary bloke, and I'm literally like, and he's like, "Oh, have you got something to say to me?" I'm like shaking like mad. I was like, "I just want to say first, I'm ill. I'm dying. I'm so sorry." But he actually said that in next year, if we keep running the podcast, he's going to come on and defend himself. I don't know how he's going to defend himself, yeah. Because he was fucking swinging them rabbits around. I don't know how he's going to defend them. So. But yeah, so we saw Vern in Montpellier. He's all good. He just thinks I'm a nervous wreck.
See, I actually saw him on last week. He's coaching the Barbars. I went to watch the Barbarians train. And I spoke to him after training, and he was like, "How's that skinny fucker Hamilton? Why did I give him so many fucking shit Scotland caps?"
He gave me 2. And we won both of them.
Romania and Georgia.
Romania and Italy.
Okay, well. Yeah. Jim's only 2 international wins. Well done, Jim.
No, I beat Ireland a couple of times.
Did you two ever play against each other internationally? Must have.
Yeah, a couple of times.
Shawsy's like,
Took
"I've
him to
got
the
no
cleaners.
idea. Who's this kid?" Who's this kid?
Yeah. Shawsy, do you remember me or not? Seriously. Well, he doesn't remember his kid's name, so he's not going to remember
British
me,
Lion legend, World Cup winner. Do you know Jim Hamilton? No fucking clue, mate.
Yeah, he does. He does. He knows. Anyway.
All right, let's just rip into the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is where Andy Good tells us what's been good, what's been bad, and what's been ugly in rugby over the last week.
Yeah, there's not been a massive amount of rugby, has there? So the good, I'm really glad to see Clermont beat Toulon. Sorry. In the final. It was an unbelievable final. I was working for Sky Sports, watching it in studio, and I looked at it and I thought, fuck me, those boys are big. Physically, it was immense, seeing the size of them. Richard Cockerell spoke last week in France about how the top Premiership teams were struggling in the top 14, and you've played there. Physically, it's a fucking war every week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a world apart. I mean, I went there at 125, 127 kgs, and I was literally one of the lightest in the pack. I mean, it's ridiculous. They concentrate everything on having the biggest guys that they can possibly have, and yeah, week in, week out, if they were playing in the Premiership, they would struggle for fitness. But you know, when Premiership sides go over there, they have to contend with that huge size and power. It's a tough ask.
See, when I went to France I did a season at Montpellier. I don't know if you ever knew that. But,
That went well, didn't it?
It was a big deal over here. But when I turned up, so basically they had a sheet of paper, A4 piece of paper, and I trimmed up a little bit. And when I mean trimmed up, I don't mean like now. I went down from like 128 kgs to about 125. I thought, I want to hit the ground running, turn up in good shape. Got called into the office in my first week there. And Fabian was like, "Jim, what is this?" I was like, "What?" And he holds up this bit of paper. He's like, "We need you big." And I was like, because I was 3K light, he's like, "You no play until you get big." And then literally, the fitness coach, I swear to God, was bringing in the morning bags of croissants. He's like, "Get these in, you big fella," in French. I didn't know whether for me.
What is "get these in, you big fella" in French?
I don't know. But thank you for the Guinness and the hops. Thank you very much. But yeah, so basically I had to scrummage on the loose head side, which is the left-hand side of the scrum, and they had a guy who was from Cameroon, Charlie Watchu. I don't think that was his name. He didn't spell like that. That was his nickname.
You called him Charlie Bobbins Watchu, didn't you?
So he was 138 kgs, and so I was playing 50 minutes, and they'd get me off, and they went, once you get bigger, you can stay. And I was like, but surely oh, Charlie Watchew's absolutely fucked. Look at him, he's fucked. He's like, no, get bigger. So I just used to weigh in my like the opposite to what you did. You'd obviously weigh in just your pants. I was weighing in like my jacket, shoes, everything.
Well, that's why Breve liked me. They wanted big players, and I fitted that bill, didn't I? As a 10, just in the wrong kind of way. Anyway, so Claremont, obviously, congrats to them. 14th, top 14 final, only their second victory. So I think if you're a neutral and you see the pain they've been through, obviously, they lost to the second best team. No, not even second. Third best team in England in the Champions Cup final a few weeks before. So great to see them win. The bad. Anyone watch Super Touch rugby? Super Touch? Watch a bit of that? No, didn't think so. Shit, isn't it?
Andy does.
Andy, did you watch the game in Apia, in Samoa?
Where no one turned up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the tickets were too expensive.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. You
Joke.
go to Samoa. You go back a couple of weeks and they played a game in Fiji, didn't they? And it was ram-packed.
Yeah, exactly.
So I thought it was I think tickets were going in Samoa for about 70, 80 quid a pop.
It completely defeats the whole purpose of the exercise, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just a money-making thing. You're trying to grow the game and take it to areas where there should be potentially a Super 15, Super 28 team or something like that.
As far as sporting organisations go, SANZAR has got the longest way to go when it comes to balancing how we can make money versus what's good for the game. Because that competition's an absolute joke at the moment. Everyone that watches it knows it's a joke or it doesn't even know what it is because it's so confusing. So, and that just confirms it, going to Apia and charging the locals that can't even afford to go to the game to try and grow the game, just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's gone downhill since I played there, so yeah. And then the ugly. Anyone see the Independent? Anyone see their headline after Anthony Watson scores the winning try for the Lions? The Independent, their headline was Anthony Joshua seals unconvincing victory for the Lions.
Was that in the UK Independent or the New Zealand?
It was the UK. This is UK. The UK Independent, they've mixed up Anthony Joshua with Anthony Watson.
They need a new rugby writer.
I mean, you've got one fucking job. There's a picture. One's a fucking boxer and one's a speedy winger. Really bad that was. So the ugly this week goes to the Independent.
Talking of papers and stuff, and again, I'm not a huge reader. I was more into maths.
Because you can't read.
I was more into maths. But Shawsy, I'd like, for you, I know you know me, I know you, be interesting to know what you think about the press and the media surrounding the Lions and the amount of criticism they've got, because it's going to be tough anyway. And I imagine a lot of the players, which we didn't when we played, would read the stuff. But the criticism they're coming under from both the UK, the British press, and more so the New Zealand.
Well, it's one of those things that you've got to be prepared for when you go to New Zealand. It's like not only the press get on your back, but every woman, child, fucking granny gets in your ear about how shit you are and how you're going to lose at the weekend. So, it's one of those things you're going to have to deal with in New Zealand, as well as the incredibly boring, painful, day in, day out monotony of a couple of mountains, rugby on the TV, and fuck all else entertainment.
I was going to ask, there was a more serious thing that I read this morning. I tried to work out with the pictures that I was seeing. But they're saying that the players are devaluing the Lions shirt by the way in which they played. I know you mentioned about that. I just think, Andy, we spoke about it before, about the Kiwi press. Do you think it's a way in which they're trying to get under the skin? I'm hosting this shit now, look at me. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, mate. Yeah, no, I think so. I think the Kiwi press is more interested about actually the opinions from the Lions, whereas I think the British press is more interested in headlines. And I think when the British press ask their questions, they're going down the lines of trying to dig out a bigger story. Whereas there's so much hype, and there is respect around the Lions from New Zealand fans. And when the Lions don't deliver, it's a massive letdown, because we've been talking about this. As you said, we've got fuck all but mountains to talk about. And we've been talking about this tour since the last Rugby World Cup. So when they come out and they don't deliver against a team of builders and architects and people that don't even play rugby, then it's disappointing for
So
New
bored of
Zealand.
the arrogance of New Zealand. It's fucking terrible. Generally, though, and this is the thing you say as New Zealanders, and I'm sure there's some Kiwis in here, you talk about the fact that you've been talking about in New Zealand since the World Cup, which you luckily won because we didn't kick that goal against Wales. We'd have definitely beaten New Zealand at some point. But you say all you've been talking about is the Lions tour, and then the poll comes out that says, was it 75% of Kiwis couldn't even name one British Lions player? Does that mean you're a little bit inbred?
Talking of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to name one British Lions player. Like, I don't even know who they are, mate. No one cares. No, honestly though, a lot of people do. Like, I don't know who they asked about that, but it's more about the mystique of the Lions. You talk about the mystique of the All Black jersey a lot, about how we've lost the mystique of the All Black jersey, and like because it's so commercialised now, but. The mystique is still there with the Lions, and people know the jersey more than the players. And we've got mountains to worry about, not players.
Hey, talking of that, hang on. Did you see Kieran Reid? I don't know if you've seen the thing that I posted. So basically, a guy who's working for Rugby Pass, where we're going out to New Zealand next week with, asked Kieran Reid. We didn't ask him, he told him. He said, Jim Hamilton's been called up. Shit himself.
I think his real answer is, have you heard of him? He's like, yeah, mate, I think, no, it's a long name.
Did you see it or not?
I did see it. I
You
tweeted
did?
about it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you tweeted me back.
But what was
and basically, he said, like Simon Shaw, I haven't got a fucking clue who he is.
He did not say that. He looks worried. But do you know what? Do you think he actually knew many of the players? He was like, yeah, Sam's a world-class player. Does it sound Kiwi? Yeah, man. Yeah. He said he didn't. It seemed like he didn't know any of the players. You reckon? Sure.
No, he didn't. And I think, in reality, he thought, oh, shit, what was the last team that toured here? And he went back to Wales last year and he went, yeah, that Sam fella, he's pretty good, eh? And then Toby fella Towie, he couldn't even name his name properly.
Yeah, he's a good boy. He's a good boy.
Yeah, but that's the Kiwi way. They're fucking arrogant. Well, they are about rugby. Yes, true or not?
Guilty. Yeah. I mean, we've been built on success. Why wouldn't you be arrogant? I mean,
built on a lot of failure before you've won the last 2 World Cups. Let's be honest. But now McCaw's gone.
the last how many World Cups? Sorry, mate.
03. That's what we've got. 03. Haven't we, Shawsy?
That's what he's got. He's got it. He's got.
I got a lot of air miles, is what I got.
All right, guys. Well, we're almost wrap it up, but before we get to that, we're gonna talk about Tweet Roulette. We're gonna go back to Andy Good's phone, and we're gonna find out what Jim Hamilton got up to on Andy Good's Twitter.
So this generally sums Jim up. So he took the piss out of me about messaging Nigel Farage. But Nigel messaged me first. That's the truth of it.
Nigel messaged you first?
Yeah, he did. I'll read it to you. Andy, you've had an amazing career.
He's talking shit.
You've been an international stalwart. Who the fuck is Johnny Wilkinson? No, anyway. Going back to the private message that Jim sent to Nigel Farage, that was the punishment.
It felt so personal. It felt so real when I was texting him.
Listen to this. Hi, Nigel. Can you please follow @JimHamilton4, the hero?
Did I put that?
He's now thinking about getting into politics and is a bit of a national treasure. For who? Fucking Scotland.
The UK.
He hates the SNP, mate. What are you on about?
Does he? I don't know. I'll talk to him about that.
He's thinking about getting into politics and is a bit of a national treasure and will be a great addition to the political world. P.S. Great job again. P.S. Great job. P.S. Great job. I love you, Nigel.
Did he reply?
No reply. No reply.
Okay. We didn't reply to you for 4 messages, so I might message him again.
All right, thank you all so much for coming to live rugby podcast. Thank you very much to Rugby Pass for sponsoring us, and thank you very much to the Walkabout Temple. And thank you, to you guys, because you guys are what make the show. You guys are the ones that subscribe and listen. So make sure you tell your friends about us on Twitter if you can, and we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys again.
Thank you.